Welcome to course 4, Speaking Opportunities, and this is part of module 2, Brand Building. How do you identify the opportunities pertaining to speaking engagements as you want to build your brand into a strong, reputable, and needed brand within the industry? And so there's a long list of opportunities that you can take advantage of. Starting off, universities. You could be in private practice focusing on a particular subject matter or competency area within your practice that you are building a brand around. And one of the key areas that you can start making sure that before you get to speak at conferences, you can start speaking at university institutions that, for example, optometry schools, and you can determine whether or not do you target second year students, first year students, final year students. Who are you targeting at university institutions as part of you building your brand and identifying that, wait a minute, I'm interested in dry eye, I'm interested in visual therapy, and being in private practice with the years that I have, it might just be 5 years, but the person that is in university who's doing second year might be taught the academic and clinical components of that particular competency. But when it comes to practice, this is how it actually unfolds within the practice setup, where it be in a public setup or a private optometric practice. And so you can then identify that I'm going to go to university and talk to optometry students in terms of how does this competency area or skill that I'm interested in unfold when they start working. And then that you sort of like bringing together the academic, the clinical, and the business components of optometry in your presentation. And you just schedule time to go there as a guest lecturer at the particular institution and talk to the students pertaining to your experience and your thoughts and your approach pertaining to that particular subject matter. And it must tie in with when do they have that particular subject matter. So it's very important then you get to understand the programs that are taking place at the university institutions and connect with the lecturers or the department itself and offer them your services to go there as a guest lecturer. I used to be a guest lecturer, and I still am, at various optometry schools, and I go there to talk to them about optometry related stuff. And the topics vary. And it started off by me then talking about social media, talking about what they should expect after they graduate. So I had a whole list which was random at the time. I was not even aware that globally people were going to university institutions to talk about finances, to talk about running an optometry practice, to talk about social media, to talk about YouTube. So I then created a series of discussion topics that I wanted the students to know. And eventually I became, at one of the optometry schools, I became a part-time lecturer on the subject of practice management. But before we even got to that, I was going there to train the students on various components that I felt I was not taught when I was at university. However, I still saw a massive opportunity for industry leaders who are in practice to come and be guest speakers at university institutions and talk about their area of expertise. Whether they were experienced or not, it was important for students to have an awareness of that one student that might have an interest in pediatric optometry, and you are 5 years into the industry dealing with dyslexia, dealing with visual therapy, dealing with various components of pediatric therapy, and your confidence levels to speak at optometry events perhaps is not at the level that you would want it to be, and you're scared or you're shy to go about that journey. So why not start at university institutions? Once you're comfortable and you can see that, wait a minute, these students actually heard me, they understood what I was saying, and I'm actually loving this. I'm actually confident. I like being in front of people, and sharing with them my expertise pertaining to a subject matter of my choice. And I loved the engagement that I was getting from them. So that's an area where you can identify as an opportunity. You might be a consultant with 15 years experience in the eye care industry. What's stopping you from going to your university institution and talking about administrative related content, sales related content, operational related content pertaining to what happens in the optometric practice that you can talk to the students about? Because your 10-year experience far outweighs their knowledge in terms of what is happening in the context of an optometric practice. So it's very important that you can go to university institutions and start speaking. Just start speaking. You can start from 30 minutes to an hour and ask the students for feedback. They should give you honest feedback in terms of how the engagement was with you. Next, it's conferences. Conferences provide an opportunity for you to go there as a speaker and you submit abstracts all the time. That's what I used to do. I used to attend a lot of CPD lectures, CPD events. I would start off by asking the people that I was attending the CPD lectures on. They would usually have an ophthalmologist and someone from the company that was sponsoring the CPD event speaking. And on other occasions, they would have a person speaking on ethics. So the CPD would be normal clinical work by the ophthalmologist, and then the ethics done by a person who's an expert in that particular field. And one day I realized that, but wait a minute, some of the content that the people that are providing ethics lectures it's something that I can actually do. It might not be CPD related, but in terms of content, I've got good content. I can talk about social media, I can talk about marketing, I can talk about YouTube channels. And so I started introducing myself and asking the people that were organizing the conference. And the first opportunity that I ever got was a 10-minute opportunity to just talk to people about staff training. And I just said to them, this is the importance of staff training. If you invest in your team, this is what can happen. If you don't invest in the team, this is what's going to happen. And 2 people from that event engaged me on it to say, Obi, do you provide training for staff? I've actually been thinking of getting staff training done for my team, but I've been asking myself who actually does or provides staff training. But listening to you now, I was like, wow, that's actually making a lot of sense. Can I book him? And so for me, that was my area of expertise that I was trying to grow as a brand. What is your particular area of expertise that you want to then go and talk about at a conference? Because if you don't start and you're waiting to be experienced enough, or you're waiting for certain years, that you're going to wait forever. Speak at the conference based on the level that you are in. Because here's the thing at the conference. There's different types of people that are going to be at a conference. You've got the experts, who are the clinical or academic or business related experts. You've got the key opinion leaders. You've got those who have been in the industry for years with a lot of experience behind them. But at the same time, you have people who are attending a conference for the very first time, who are 2-3 years in the industry, just like you, who are trying to learn as much information as they possibly can about a particular subject matter. And what tends to happen at times is that experts invest a lot, not all of them, some of them, invest a lot in ensuring that they are well competent in the subject matter or the competency area of interest, but don't spend a lot of time investing in how they deliver the content which they are well trained on to the audience. And sometimes the audience members or the delegates with less than 5 years experience cannot connect or relate with what the expert is actually talking about. I experienced that myself, where earlier on I would listen to people that will be talking on business related stuff, and young people that were in the conference or in the lecture hall could not relate to what this person was talking about in terms of the content. And sometimes I would find myself relating more with the person that was talking on a different subject matter that I was not interested in. But guess what I picked up from him? How they were speaking, their tone of voice, their presentation slides, the examples that they were using, the manner in which they were using examples, connecting with the audience, getting us engaged. So I was learning various other components of their speaking slot that had nothing to do with what they were talking about or what the expert was talking about. And I would get far more from everything surrounding the presentation. So there's so many things that can set you apart in terms of speaking opportunities at a conference. You might be thinking, you know what, my area of interest is visual therapy, and I want to build a brand for myself around visual therapy, but I'm not at the level of so-and-so. I'm not at the level of so-and-so. But what I can be able to talk about is at this level, okay? Research multiple ways in which you can deliver your content. Research how to make brilliant, world-class presentation slides. Research various videos that you can include in your presentation. Research various different types of content related to the topic that you want to talk about. Research different delivery mechanisms that you can be able to utilize and carve out your own unique way of delivering your message. All of a sudden, your topic could be at the basic level, but the way in which you are delivering the topic could be at a far advanced level than the actual expert in the audience, and to a point whereby they themselves can learn from how you have delivered the content. They themselves can learn in the manner in which you are speaking, the tone, the examples, your actual presentation slides that they've been speaking for 15, 20 years on the same topic or area of competency in optometry. And then here you come talking on something that they are an expert on, but you deliver it in a manner in which they are like, wow, that was actually quite interesting. I liked how you delivered it. So don't sit there thinking, I'm not yet an expert. You can develop other areas that you can make sure that you can become an expert in. That's what happened with us. That initially we spoke from a basic point of view with content that was not changing people's lives, was not changing the way optometrists were running their businesses. But everything that we were doing, how our presentation slides were structured, the content structure, the delivery structure, all of that contributed to making sure that we've got an effective and excellent presentation that we deliver on. And the more we became comfortable and confident, and the more content we were able to gain through our experience, it then grew. Then you start learning audience members. You start looking at, wait a minute, I've got different audience members. When I'm standing in a conference room and I'm speaking to the delegates, in the audience members, there are white people, there are black people, there are Indian people, there are Chinese people, and so forth. There are young people, there are old people. In my examples, I need to then think of the type of patients that they see, that they seeing people of all different backgrounds. And so include examples pertaining to how they need to be communicating with their patients in the practice. And that's how we started growing and becoming recognizable, reputable individuals in various subject matters. And that's how our brand grew. So in your case, choose a particular topic, identify the conferences that you want to be able to launch yourself in, and go there. And make sure that you've got business cards, social media up and running, some YouTube channel that you have already established, so that when people want more, you can send them to your YouTube channel, you can send them to your social media, and then it adds to your brand itself. It adds to your speaking engagement that you've just had. Some of the opportunities, before you even go to conferences, you can utilize social media. You can go and do Instagram Live. You can do Facebook Live. You can go live on on LinkedIn and have 10 people that you are engaging on, or have a conversation with your colleague who is also doing the same area of expertise or of competency that you are, but they are in Cape Town, you are in Gauteng, in Johannesburg. Another person could be sitting in Kenya. Another young person could be sitting in Namibia. And you guys can organize a webinar and by being online and put that webinar, go live via social media, or have it on a webinar platform with 10 people, with 20 people who are at your level. And guess what's going to happen? You've got organizers of conferences looking at what you're doing, suppliers looking at what you're doing, and your brand, your confidence gets to grow as a result of the more people are exposed to your speaking engagements, the more speaking engagements you're going to get as an opportunity that will start coming out. All of a sudden, people love how you've utilized social media. People love how you've utilized being online and so forth. I used to be nervous, scared, thinking to myself, the way I speak will not be relevant to connect with audiences in different parts of the world. I used to compare myself with global speakers. I used to be thinking to myself, I can't speak like so and so. I don't have an accent like so and so. I sound very South African. I sound very black South African. And I was like, no way am I going to be able to stand in an audience in London, in an audience in New York, speaking to optometrists about a particular subject matter, thinking that my content is not even at the level at which global people, global leaders can be able to relate with. And I realized that I don't need to be all of that. All I need to be is myself. All I need to be is make sure that in my area of expertise, I'm the best at what I do. And when I got overseas and I started speaking at overseas conferences and events, I was surprised how many people connected with the way we were delivering our messages. So for example, there are certain leaders that would have on their slides a lot of content, and it would not be visually appealing. With me, I would research my topic 100 times. I would look at 100 questions on every slide that people could ask me. I would look at so many components of my presentation and I will prepare like no one's business. Then when I have an opportunity to stand in front of audiences, I would not even need my notes. I would not even need my tablet or anything. I would literally just have a few slides and be comfortable and confident to talk to them. And the presentation will not, or will move from it being a presentation to it being a conversation that will take place between myself and them. We've got a wonderful ebook that you can download in terms of how to develop yourself into, or a speaker's ebook that we have developed that you can actually download from our website, that is freely available, that you've got access to by merely being on this platform. You have access to the speaker's profile, and it profiles or breaks down various ways in which you can develop yourself as a speaker. So we run a speakers bureau as part of Vision Straight, that we've got various different industry leaders that we have worked with in developing their speaking abilities so that they can speak on global stages. And so for us, that was one of the key areas that we identified as an opportunity for us to say, we're not going to wait for the conference, we'll go online. We're not going to wait to be invited. We will just go online and start having a huge following online. YouTube, start talking about our area of interest on YouTube and put that on all digital platforms. And that grew our credibility in a particular subject matter, especially here on the African continent. And so that is something that you have to think about, that you are the next generation of industry experts. And so how do you go about looking at opportunities within your area of competency that you can start speaking on? Facilitated training. You want to start training people on visual therapy. How many people are doing that? You want to start training people on various subject matters within our industry. start doing that. And if you thinking that it's the process of going and getting invited to conferences is too difficult, put it online. Being online right now creates wonderful opportunities for you to connect with different types of audiences instantaneously and collaborate with people that are already doing it and be part of a hub. So what we do as well, we've got a speakers hub or a leadership hub. As part of our leadership hub, we've got different people from different parts of the world so that we can help them on their journey in becoming professional speakers in the context of IK, in the context of whatever subject matter of their interest or their choice, so that they can be able to speak at various different types of industry events. CPD lectures, start speaking there. You can build your brand so much that you can become a brand ambassador for various companies. So when you're a brand ambassador, you then create an opportunity for yourself to speak at various different types of company events that or industry events that represent that particular brand. And you can look at different ways in which you can have product launches and speak at a product launch. Look at how can you become an MC? How can you become a facilitator of an event? Build your content in a manner that you're doing it online, and then move from online to connecting with various companies and showcase your wonderful speaking abilities. The only way speaking opportunities can unfold in your midst is if you are harnessing your speaking ability. So speaking opportunities will come when you are harnessing your speaking ability, putting yourself out there, utilizing digital media, social media to grow yourself, to grow your brand, and as a speaker, because that's going to increase the opportunities that you have to engage different types of audiences, and that ultimately leads to you becoming a thought leader, a key opinion leader, an industry expert in a particular subject matter.